Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum, Zafar sir.
Shaban, your camera is not working. Assalamu alaikum, Fatma.
Assalamu alaikum, Zafar.
Now I can see you, gentlemen, fresh and bright in the morning.
It's 10 o'clock.
Asma, kya haal hai? Asma, mic off hai.
Let me unmute. sir.
Assalamu alaikum everyone.
Alaikum assalam. MashaAllah, MashaAllah. Looking very bright. And
Yeah, I forced these colors on me so to wake up. So
I know it's Sehri ke baad itne baje uthna is quite a test.
yeah.
Yes,
पहले
it's
रोजा
quite a
आपने
test.
तो breakfast session कहा था Zafar.
No, I thought, let's get it out of the way and then go to sleep again.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Okay. So I see a lot of other people. Asma is
Fatma is also here.
Fatma, assalamu alaikum.
Assalamualaikum. How are you? How's everyone?
Everyone,
Alhamdulillah.
Thank you.
Once
Good to
again,
be here.
Mubarak on Ramzan, which is not
Thank
allowed
you.
on our group. Wishes of Ramzan. So
Yes,
we
but that's good. Everyone needs to contain the traffic, make it more relevant.
yeah,
But
everybody starts bombarding with the
Shaban.
relevant. So I have to be very, very, unlike me, very harsh. But unfortunately, that's the way. But
Well,
hopefully, people will find and
no,
realize.
setting certain norms always helps the quality of learning. So
Exactly.
do that.
Absolutely. So I see some more friends. Joel is here from
Yeah.
Citibank, and I see Mr. Muazzam is here, and I see Uzma Safdar is here, and of course Omara, and then there are some people. There's a gentleman whose name is coming as Edwin. Is this a name or is it an administration itself? I don't know. Rehan, welcome. अभी सबका माइक म्यूट किया हुआ है.
Hello, Zafar Saab. Hello.
जी, अस्सलाम वालेकुम.
Ji walaikum assalam.
Assalamu alaikum.
This is Uzma.
Uzma, yes, Uzma Safdar.
I know Uzma Safdar. She's showing her picture now. कहना उमर साहब, इनका माइक ऑफ करो यार, वो ऑन करो. Just to introduce very quickly the people on the screen exactly at time. I'm the
Shama here. Assalamualaikum Zafar Saab, Shama here.
Shema आ गई. Very good. You've been trying. I could see that. MashaAllah. अच्छा. तो basically I'm Zafar Usmani. जो next मेरी screen में आपको a gentleman with a grown beard नजर आ रहे हैं due to corona is Fawad Khan.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone.
Of course.
Assalamualaikum.
ये जो वाली दाढ़ी होती है ना हमारे तो यही चल जाता है.
It's very difficult to train.
No, I think one of the norms we have to learn. मुझे अपने बालों के लिए भी चाहिए वो जो razors आते हैं ना जो आजकल.
Exactly.
So I think I have to learn the art of trimming my hair myself, self-contained. So that is one thing. Then Asma again, welcome. Asma Sheikh, Shaban from Dubai. Is 1 hour behind, so उसके लिए और भी बेचारे के 9 o'clock. And then Fatma from Lahore, Alhamdulillah. And who else? Shiraz, his camera is not off. हमारी team में से और there was Colonel Umar who has just vanished somewhere again. So we have 21 participants.
I am back with the camera actually.
Acha, oh, welcome back, sir. Welcome back. Thank you so much. Umar Saab is here. If anybody has not seen Colonel Umar of our team, this is what he looks like. And we now have around 22. We have about 62 participants. So what I will do is, we don't want to take a lot everybody's time. What I'll do is just around another 2-3 participants, and we will start the very interesting discussion. I was very first of all very excited to have this panel. Mashallah, inki jo level of expertise hai, exposure hai, it's very diverse. We have Fatma, who is a professional consultant, now of course the managing director and chief executive officer. But the interesting thing with Fatma is the profession, and in the last 10 years my profession is that it is not specific to one organization. She has been associated with diverse organizations, and Fatma also has, you know, a broader interest in women empowerment, and Kashfa Foundation, and a lot of other things. So it's very interesting to have Fatma. Shaban is now a global HR expert. He worked in Pakistan. Now he's looking after Coca-Cola for Dubai and Oman. And I'm sure, you know, he's expanding, he's spreading his wing, especially with the new norm and Zooms. He may be looking at many other countries because it is now possible really in a connected world to be together. Asma has been in different companies in Dubai. She was heading Barclays, HR, etc., etc. So I'm not going to recall all her achievements in life. But right now, these days, I can connect with where I was about 15, 20 years back, dealing with one of the biggest organization transformation challenge in a public sector organization of a huge size. So Asma is now heading, it is a head of human resource or chief people officer or whatever, CHRO you want to call, for National Bank of Pakistan. And I tell you, I can have a sense of what challenges are there. And you know, you've got a very complex, problems and more complex solutions. So it's a very, very interesting place. You have various streams and cross streams of issues and challenges. So she is now, mashallah, she's taken over the last few months and trying to make this bank a bank worth comparing with a modern bank, which is a big challenge. So I think, you know, what has happened is, a brief introduction, aap logon ka dekhe, I would like to go like this. You know, this is the topic, again, just to recall, is aligning HR strategy. This is a very common thing. I've been fighting for it in the last many years. Please, HR is not just sitting and processing transactional role. It is to contribute to the organization's business growth strategy and everything. So he said, you align what you're going to do in HR with what business is going to do. So any HR initiative, my first question is, what is the business vision and what are the key business goals? And then we connect. What are the things we need to do to keep the business going and contribute, make effective utilization of the human asset. So, but you know, it has been normal days I have been emphasizing, but then this Corona thing happened, and now we're talking about a completely different world. And you know, the learning we are still going on. We are not even sure where we stand in terms of our ultimate, the point of arrival organization, culture and organization structure. But because of Corona, so many things have happened. I mean, 1 month back, we would not have imagined that people from Dubai, from Islamabad, from Karachi, from Lahore will be using the digital technology so strongly as to sitting in one place and talking and really addressing issues and moving ahead. So this is a major breakthrough. One of the blessings of Corona by default is that the process of digitization has been advanced by 5 to 10 years in a very fast forward speed. So how does this impact the business now? Businesses, we see the short term, there are huge challenges in businesses, and long term, there are going to be hopefully some benefit. Short term challenges will include impact on human, immediate impact. Right now, people are talking about downsizing. Right now, people are talking about joblessness and a lot of other things. So immediate impact in the organization, if you look at the C level, one of the forefront, the doctors are there facing the epidemic. We are there, we as HR are there to manage this biggest problem, which is how to manage the headcount, joblessness, and how to manage the compensation and everything. So that is a big challenge now. So business strategy has to now shift. It has not shifted yet, but it has to shift. And when that happens, what should be our proactive thinking and proactive role? How do we address it, and how do we try and make it more value creative in terms of our aligning the HR strategy? This is the broad theme, and I will now make my best effort to shut up, and I'll start one by one. I'm going to give about 5 to 7 minutes to each of the panelists, which are again sincerely thank you, all three of you, Shaban, Asma, Fatma. And I'll start, let's see, with Fatma. Fatma, in your perspective, you can also add, the impact it has with your passion on the woman empowerment and some kind of, how does it look like? I see a lot of positive things because it may give women a chance to do more. They don't have to be in the office 9 to 7, yet they can add substantive value, etc. So take about few minutes that you want to, then we move to Shaban, and then we'll come to the most challenging Asma.
Thank you so much, and Assalamu alaikum, and it's wonderful to be here. You put me first, so hopefully I will do justice to the two esteemed speakers who will be following me as well. They've got such amazing, rich experience. And Zafar Saab, this is a great learning opportunity because at this point in time, we are all in a position or circumstances where it's unprecedented. No one saw this coming, and it had governments and business leaders and people, everyone across the globe just reeling. And I think we're still trying to navigate through what has happened. How do we make sure we come out of this, in some cases, unfortunately, alive, because it's hit certain countries much more severely than it has other countries as well. And then how do we regroup as organizations, as humans, as we get through it or try to get through this or bring some kind of sense to what has happened. So, of course, there are multiple challenges from an economic, from a political, from an HR, even obviously from a health and wellness perspective, from an emotional well-being perspective as well. And it is hitting different generations in a different manner. So the challenges are endless, and we can go on for hours just breaking it up into how does it, what is happening, and what do we do about it. So there are two aspects to it. I'll just share a bit of our own journey when this happened and how my own organization is Abacus, because that gives a certain perspective on how we're dealing with it and at an individual level, and how are we navigating right now, and what are we planning for the future. So for us at the leadership level at Abacus, there were two priorities. One was the well-being of our staff, our people, wherever they are, whether they were in Pakistan or and across 3 continents. We had projects running. We had local nationals over there, as well as our Pakistani colleagues who were based in those international projects. And the second aspect was business continuity. So we need to take care of our people, and then we have to also ensure that there is a sustainable, viable model that will allow us to remain or to exist essentially in the next coming few months. And that's where the whole conversation starts. What do you do to ensure that your people are safe? What do you do to ensure that your people have lesser anxiety? And how can you safeguard their jobs, and how can you safeguard their continuity in terms of livelihood and also in terms of learning? So the initial reaction was, let's make sure that we have measures in place within the organization which safeguard. I'm sure all organizations that are represented at this forum today took those steps in terms of having sanitizers and disinfecting the place, etc. But the next step was work from home. How do you shut down your offices, send people home? How will that enable productivity? As we all know, not all industries can have a work from home model. Manufacturing organizations, when they shut down, obviously that is their bread and butter. Hundreds and maybe thousands are sent home without any work to do. They cannot work from home. They have to be on the factory floor. So there were challenges. Obviously, the governments have played a very significant role as well. But what you see in this whole thing, and I'll just focus on how the workplace trend has happened. And then the second aspect I will talk about is the employee experience within this change that is happening. The workplace trend, definitely, we are at a position where I feel emotionally as a human being, and also as a business leader, we are a bit more clear in terms of how to handle it right now. So we've put those measures in place, we've effectively communicated, which was also extremely important for us. And that is extremely important for organizations to communicate on a timely basis, to communicate often, but be very clear in terms of what messages you're sending out to your people. Once you have those steps in place, how long do you continue with the work from home? As we all know, as far as Pakistan is concerned and other countries in the world is concerned, they're still in a lockdown situation. So how do you ensure that the infrastructure will enable continuity of work from home arrangements as well? Secondly, how do you determine on a long-term basis, maybe till June or maybe into the next quarter, because that's what research and trends are showing, that unfortunately this will go well into the later part of this year as well, if not Q1 of 2021. So we have to be prepared for that. So be very conscious about how can you continue the work from home arrangement. And interestingly, if you look at it from a demographic perspective, the technology enablement, and some organizations were ahead in terms of their technology and digital footprint, individuals have caught on and adapted quite quickly. So the key driver over here becomes adaptability and agility with which you have managed this. However, at the same time, they will continue to work from home if there is work. So if there is no work, then how will, the concept of work from home does not exist. So that's also very important, and that links up to the business continuity element of how organization and business leaders are ensuring that there is enough work to do, there are enough opportunities, they have enough cash flow to continue over the next couple of quarters as well. So these are the challenges that are facing organizations, and we're still in it. As we all know over here, it's an evolving situation. Every day brings a new surprise. I mean, yesterday, I'm not sure if any of you saw Donald Trump's press conference in the US. And he made one or two very irresponsible statements about how we can deal with this. And I won't go into that.
Fatma, that's entering into the era of humor now.
But what I'm trying to say is, well, while humor is good in this particular time, but the point is, when you have leaders who are heading countries, and similarly where you have organization leaders not making responsible statements and ridiculing this effect, that is alarming. Already, the second aspect, which I just want to quickly touch upon, is the anxiety that we see around us. It's not just about saying, okay, we will provide the salaries, we will provide the jobs on a certain basis, but that is a very short-term basis if there is no sustainability of the business. But we also have to provide a focus on the well-being, emotional well-being. So if we have, and it's the same thing, if a business leader or a CEO were to make that a responsible statement, that will cause, and that impacts productivity, that also impacts the ability to innovate as well. So lastly, I would say that when we work on transforming ourselves and we're navigating through this new reality, so to speak, there's still a lot of challenges. What we need to do is be responsible as business leaders to ensure that we try to protect the jobs. However, we also enable individuals and provide them platforms that they can continue to work wherever possible. It's not infrastructure that will matter. It will be the creativity, the productivity, the value that human beings contribute, which will truly impact business continuity. And what you mentioned, Zafar Saab, about women empowerment, you're absolutely right. This is a fantastic opportunity where there is an ability to work from home. I, as a mother in a way, it's been great because I've been able to spend more time with my children at home. However, it is very challenging because you're constantly on call the whole day. So you have to balance out the personal and professional tasks as well. And then you become creative and find opportunities not only to develop an income stream for yourself, but also contribute to the well-being of those around you and provide creative skills to even the children who are at home. That's our next generation. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Fatma. Very comprehensive, and in a very short span, you have almost covered everything that one would like to say. At this point, before I move to Shaban, but I would like to welcome from Dubai. One is our business associate, Hawa Shafre. The other is this smart girl, Maha, and I see from Dubai. So, you're most welcome, both the ladies. Fawad, Agar, if you could open the mic for Hawa for a few minutes to welcome and hello, Hawa.
Assalamu alaikum, Brother Zafar. Shukran. Thank you for having me and for planning this amazing session. Shukran.
Thank you so much. We hope we'll have many more like this. And the last session we had with you was awesome, and your people enjoyed it. We have to learn a lot from you. Inshallah, we will be in touch. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. And I think I agree a lot in terms of what Ms. Asma has said. So inshallah, we'll definitely have more discussions. Thank you.
Fatma had created some very substantive point, and I'm going to try and capture it and share it with people on LinkedIn independently, but very, very substantive points. Thank you so much. We come to Mr. Shaban Bhatt. Hello, Shaban.
Thank you, Zafar Saab. Good morning,
Can
everybody.
you elevate yourself a little bit? What we see is the top side of your head. Yeah, thank you so much.
Is it better?
Yeah, it's much better. Alhamdulillah.
Okay. Good morning. Very good morning to everybody. This is Shaban with you. Very rightly, Fatma, what you have just explained in detail. I'd like to build upon that. And since you have explained the business side and the dynamics attached to the business and the evolving situation in the COVID, I think I will try to ponder a little bit upon what HR is performing as and what emerging role of HR in the future. To my mind, at this moment in time, HR is at the forefront. It's right in front of the business and trying to safeguard employees and also the employer. The crisis is forcing us, almost every business, to develop, adapt, and improve remote policies, procedures. How do we adapt to this new evolving situation and try to understand? And as rightly Mr. Zafar also explained, that we are still learning. We're still trying to understand how to move along with it. Now, being HR, it is our far and first and foremost responsible to safeguard our employees and keep them informed of what is going on. The way I would like to take it in a bit structured manner, that to my mind, there are approximately 5 effects which will take place, as the things start going to normality. But there would be at least 5 points which would remain constant. The first and foremost is that remote work will be, to my mind, permanent feature to more organizations. People who used to think that working from home was not possible at one point in time, and then it became a cliche, and then it was a buzzword. Today, we all are experiencing it's a reality of life. Now, it's been more than a month. We have visited office probably like 5 or 6 times. That too in a very urgent situation when there was something which we really had to go. Otherwise, we've been trying to adopt and accommodate anything and everything from home. Now, coming to HR, I think HR now needs to collaborate with other departments such as finance, IT, that how to go along with the business and how to manage these changing norms. And at this moment in time, rules, policies, procedures which need to be adapted and developed in accordance with the needs of the organization. The second important point which I want to talk about is the nurturing the culture. Culture, as we know of an organization, is a very, very important aspect. Nurturing culture gets more challenging in dispersed workplace. As long as we are all working together, it's okay, we can manage. But when everybody is operating remotely, it becomes a little more challenging. How do you set the norms? How do you communicate what you need to say? Being one-on-one, yes, it's easy to communicate and set the process right. But managing things remotely, to my mind, I think we need to find ways. How would we go forward and perform in the pressing situation? And then especially when we are dispersed, the teams are out there. For example, as you all know, Coke is in a business of manufacturing and distribution. Now, to my mind, it was a shock to see that how a pre-seller can operate without going to the market. It is a new learning experience that we have come across. We have gadgets, we have handhelds, people are communicating with the shopkeepers, retailers on the phone, taking the orders in the B mobiles, punching them, delivery is taking place. A whole new set of experience that is coming across. And it's really insight that what at one point in time seemed a dream to be, it's a reality, and that too in such a short spell of time. The third point which I want to talk about is talent acquisition and retention. Again, a very critical aspect. When we are talking about job losses, when we are talking about business going down into a situation whereby profitability, revenue is a challenge, job loss is definitely, imperative. And it has already started. Dubai is facing a lot of big challenge in this area, and many of the people are already out of job. There are salary cuts 20 to 30%, which has already taken place. I know the organizations whereby salaries are being cut, and people are really facing difficult times. Fourth point, which is a very important point to and it's very close to my heart, because I've really worked for the last 5 years, I've worked very aggressively on this, which is the engaging a remote workforce. Now, an engaged employee is an employee whose throughput is 3 times than a normal employee. This we all know. I mean, there have been thousands of researches which have taken place. There have been gadgets on it. We have taken the polls, and as a success story, I can quote to you that in the world of Coke, when I joined Coke, we were about 67, 68% employee satisfaction rate. In the last 6 to 7 years, we've worked very aggressively on this point, and God has been very kind. Alhamdulillah, we've been able to target the workforce, and last year the engagement score was 96%, which is the highest in the world of Coke. So God has been very, very kind. So this is going to be a challenge, and a very, very steep challenge, that how would you manage to keep the workforce engaged while they are working remotely. Last but not the least, the compliance issues, policies, attendance, leaves, medical leaves. For example, God forbid, if there's a worker who's found positive on COVID in the workplace, how would you manage that? How will we treat that? It's very unfortunate but true. One of our associates, who was just recently, about 3 days back, he expired because of COVID. It was a very, very dramatic and a very, very sorrow situation to see a close buddy going away. But the guy was working in the market. He got infected. We did all we could, hospitalized, quarantined, nothing worked. It was God's will that this unfortunate event had to take place. But having said that, coming towards our responsibilities as HR, this is again a very, very important point that we need to prepare ourselves, that going forward, how is it that we're going to maintain a workplace which is safe, secure, and congenial for our associates to be there, and making sure that there are no more such incidents. There's been a history. So last closing point. Yeah, because there's so much of negativity around on the word of COVID that people have started losing hope. But what I want to leave my point is that business as usual is a history. I think this is a time for us to invest and may bring in changes, positive changes in people and the organizations. Thank you.
Thank you, Shaban. A brilliant presentation, very, very concise. I've noted all your 5 points and we're going to deliberate on it. Just very quickly, I'm also trying to make sure that time, but I want to give sufficient flexibility to Asma because she's got an ocean in her hand. Asma, it's all yours.
Thank you, Zafar. Thank you for this initiative. Thank you, Fatma and Shaban, for your input. I'll come straight to the point because of the, there's, I think, limited time frame left. I would say until only a few weeks ago, we were all HR professionals were focusing on a 5-year strategic plan for the company, how to attract and retain the best talent. But in an instant like that, all the organizations have turned into how can we continue to work in a socially distant society. I belong to a public sector which is extremely paper driven, and everything was like, everything has to be on paper, signatures, nothing will move, files will move from one place to another. And I was told in last 8 months that this is the norm, we can't do anything other than that. But now in just 2 weeks, work from home is a very common word. We're all working from home. Of course, the bank branches have to be opened, and we're taking all the health and safety measures for our people. But one thing I would like to discuss here, which is, I will focus on HR only. I mean, like it's a huge crisis, and it's extremely disruptive for all the, the whole world. So, but I'll just focus on how we can contribute as HR professionals. Whenever this kind of crisis occur, COVID-19 is an unexpected attack to the whole world, and seems it will remain there for a while. If we get, hopefully, inshallah, we should get control over it, but something else may come over that. So this is an eye opener for everyone, that how to react during this disruptive time. So first reaction that every organization takes is, now our revenues are going to be impacted, business is impacted, let's start pay cuts or start, start working on job cuts. And this is not the first time, it always happens. I worked for an organization which was multinational, and as soon as they went into loss, they said the first thing is 10% headcount reduction needs to be done across the globe. So I happen to be in a position that I raised a point, why not we give countries 10% cost reduction? Let them choose whether they want to reduce people or other services. So one point that we need to partner with our businesses how to first find out which are the services, products, or whatever they're doing, whether it's service industry or manufacturing, whatever we're doing, what is required and what is not required. Do less with less rather than do more with less. We always have been saying do more with less. Now we have to focus on how we can do less with less. What it means with our limited resources, if you're not making money, just focus on products and services which will make us revenue in the future, and how we can help our people in a way. Of course, deadwood underperformers, they, in any case, crisis or no crisis, should not be there in the organization. I'm talking about the core staff, people who are working, who are meeting their targets, who are, talented. I'm not talking only about the top talent, people who are working. So how we can ensure that they give their fullest, they work towards their fullest potential. We have to press that reset button now. We have to. And how we can do that? One example is call centers. Most of the service industry have call centers. Why can't we have work from home resource centers? That will give opportunities to a lot of housewives to, who are very well educated and can't come out of the house. If we can have infrastructure, we have to invest in digital technology so that this could be done. And I've seen an organization where it can be done. Outside Pakistan, work from home is very common, crisis or no crisis. But now it is going to be a norm. So certain services which could be done, from home, we can, digital transformation can help us. There is a technology which can help us. People can operate from home permanently. That would reduce cost for the organization, and people still will have jobs. We can create more jobs rather than retaining jobs. So this is one area that we need to be, as Fatma mentioned earlier, creative. We have to be more creative. We have to find ways how we can still be in business and retain our people as well. So, you know, I've been speaking to a lot of my friends who are either CEOs or, you know, in C-level jobs in local, you know, companies. And the first reaction is that cut the salary, fire the people. And I'm saying they've been earning so much for years. Why can't they retain their resources for next 3 months and see how it goes? And simultaneously work on do less with less. Come up with, go digital, go invest in digital technology as much as you can and utilize the skill set. If you do not have the skill set, which is, you know, not tech savvy, invest in them, train them. This could be done. It's not that difficult. I mean, like my organization's example is like, it was like, I would receive this much paper every day to sign. Now I'm getting it on emails. Work is being done. So things could be done. We need to be just more creative. We need to find ways of retaining people and get the maximum out of it in this situation. So that's all I have to say for now. And then any question answers.
I just want to, you concluded just in time because this is going to continue. We have on the screen about 3 minutes left. So we're going to reopen this thing. As soon as the screen goes, we will continue because fascinating, interesting discussions have come. And especially, you know, retraining people. You know, my understanding is that current job descriptions are redundant now because, you know, working within a parameter is a historical situation. And a lot of things that Shaban has said and Fatma has said, I think we need to build a little bit on that. So we will try and extend this this session immediately. And rather than wait for it, Fahad, can you just go and open new session?
So we can connect via previous link by clicking previous link. Yes.
Okay, so we go back. So you end this link and we go and reconnect, right?
Reconnect, yes.
Okay, everyone. Thank you so much. We'll just come back.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.